Well, hey everybody, I'm Garrett Lill, excited to chat today with Lance Browning. Today, Lance, we're going to take a little bit different spin. We usually talk on the Lance-O-Pedia podcast about financial matters, but today we're going to talk about your book. On the screen there, Rise Again. It's a really great read, and you sent me a copy. It's been a
Been a little while,
year or
yeah,
so ago. It's been a little while. I
yeah,
read
yeah.
read through it. It's a really interesting book, and I really enjoyed it. You share a lot of really the first quarter or so of the book is really you kind of sharing your journey. There's not a whole lot of financial content in the early going. You're kind of sharing with the reader your road to where you are today, which I really appreciate because it's most people, especially I think in the financial world, we like to paint our story or tell our story, paint our picture in a very pretty glossy way that everything went exactly according to
Yep.
plan and we're superheroes of the world. That's not been the path a lot of people took, and you
Not the
actually
one I
told the
took,
truth.
brother. Not the
You
one
told the
I took
truth.
for sure. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, and I wrote this about 3 years ago, and I had just sharing some things I'd gone through, some major struggles that I was going through, and had a spiritual kind of life mentor during that time that always encouraged me to let your misery be your minister.
Mm.
Because he's telling me, look, there's going to be a time or times in the future where you're going to know somebody and they're going to be going through then what you're going through now. And you need to be able to encourage them. And I've kind of figured out that I have no discernible talent whatsoever, but I do believe I have one of my spiritual gifts, I think, is going to be exhortation. I have the ability to kind of motivate and encourage people. And that's one of the things I wanted to do here. So the title of the book, Rise Again, and talk about my journey back from rock bottom, and that's a true statement, through faith, family, and finance. And we're going to kind of run everything through that filter of faith, family, and finance. And family isn't always as we maybe define it, from a genealogical standpoint. Family may be people that are there by your side through a lot of bad stuff. And so we talk about putting yourself in a financial situation where you can survive a lot. And I really want to encourage people in their faith, if nothing else. I think we read these stories, Garrett. If you read scripture, you read these stories about all these people and everything they've gone through, Moses and Abraham and Joseph and all that these people went through. And you see that, and yeah, that's a great story. Yeah, I read it. I closed the book. I'm good. But when you live through similar situations, that matters. And I think it becomes a whole lot more real to you when you're the one going through it, right? That's like the old definition between minor surgery and major surgery. Minor's when it's done on somebody else, major's when it's done on you. And so you really kind of go through
Goodness.
that. And I kind of lead in with a story about, David's in the cave of Adullam, and he's writing this. Psalm 34 talks about it, but he's in the cave of Adullam. He's hiding from Saul, who was his father-in-law, who was king of Israel, first king of Israel. And Saul gets really, really jealous of David and tries to kill him. And so David's hiding out from Saul. He's hiding in this cave, and he's just kind of crying out to God, hey, Lord, I'm running from Saul. People are trying to kill me. I didn't do anything wrong, and it ain't fair. And he just kind of lays out his heart in that and how God encouraged him through that. And that's kind of one of the things I really want to encourage people to do is just encourage them through hard times. We've all got those stories, but I think, mental health in this country, there's very much a stigma. If you called me up and said, hey, Lance, I have cancer, I wouldn't just tell you man up and get over it. But mentally, that's kind of what happens from a mental health standpoint. That's really what happens. And men in particular, because that's a sign of weakness, right? You don't share your problems with other people. We're John Wayne. And so just really encourage, find people you can trust, obviously, but find people you can trust and kind of share your struggles with them, and they can share struggles with you. And just finding that outlet for that, a healthy outlet for that. I found some outlets, Garrett, but they were not healthy. They were not good. I did not go about that the right way. And I just want to encourage people through my own storms, but encourage them maybe to handle it a little better than I did.
One of the things that I really appreciate about you and the various ways that I've been able to communicate with you over the last year, year and a half as I've gotten to know you. I mean, You text me devotionals on a pretty regular basis and text me some of your own thoughts in response to scripture that you're reading as you're doing as you're going through your own study time, which I really appreciate. We have these conversations, we talk on the phone, we text back and forth, and one of the common threads, and I don't say this to flatter you at all, but it's you are one of the most honest human beings I've ever come across, and that's a rare thing. I think especially among men. I talk about it in my Bible studies and stuff a lot too. That a lot of guys, we don't want to share what's really going on. And it's not necessarily that it's not that we're trying to put the pretty picture up so everybody thinks we've got a perfect life. We just don't really want to share that we've got struggles. Everybody kind of knows that everybody has them, but we just kind of gloss over them. But what's interesting about that in a mentorship or a trying to help other people kind of way is I use the analogy sometimes, probably not the best one. And if I go to a golf pro for a golf lesson and he tells me my swing is great, that's not doing me any good. I need him to take a look at what's really wrong and tell me the truth and
Right.
pick it apart. But in our personal lives, we don't do that necessarily. We try to make it look like we're as good as we can be. And that doesn't really offer a lot of opportunities for people to help us because they don't know we need it. And it also leads other people to think they're the only ones who have problems. So that's why we
Right.
end up with these, you don't know what's going on. But when you can find a group of people that you can be honest with, tell them what's really going on, you can learn from them, they can learn from you, and you find a lot of comfort in that, and you can help other people and they can help you, but you have to tell the
Right.
truth. And that's a really hard thing for some people to do, but you do a great job of it in the book. I think as I was reading through it, I just appreciated your willingness to share it. But also, I'm sitting back here looking at this guy who's got a great business, great personality, seems to be doing great in the world. I would have never had any idea you had any struggles in your life if you hadn't put it out there. But it is encouraging to see, hey, yeah, it's everybody struggles, and
Yep.
there's ways to get through it. And you share some of those ways in the book, which I loved it. I really appreciated you being
Well,
able
I
to do
appreciate
that.
that, and I do. I hope it was an encouragement. And yeah, I think you hit on some points there because I think in business, particularly our business, back when you were in the business, it's all about branding, right? Life is about branding nowadays, and that's kind of our culture. And you never want to do anything to damage the brand, right? We got to protect the brand. And kind of in here, I kind of pull the curtain back on the brand a little bit and just share, but I think at the same time, that makes you more relatable and can be an asset and a benefit to other people because I think you hit on this. We're professional problem solvers, right? I solve people's problems for a living, but we're not allowed to have problems ourselves, right?
That's
And
right. Yeah.
so, yeah, we kind of broke through that veil a little bit and said, no, that's not true. But I cannot tell you how many people have reached out and said, "Golly, man, that ministered to me. I went through a similar situation and da 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 da." But I've been able to encourage others through that.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. How long did it take you to write the book, first of all?
Oh gosh, probably 9 months, and,
Okay.
I talk about this in the book as well. If I had known if somebody had told me how much work that was going to be, I probably wouldn't have done it. I'm glad I did now, but, I tell people it's a process, man. It's like passing a kidney stone. It's a process, but, it's a lot of work, but I think I think it was worthwhile. I mean, I think that just the feedback, and I didn't do this for pats on the back or look at me or anything else, just to encourage others that, hey, you know what? It's real, and I'm just as screwed up as you are, and yeah, you know, just makes you
So
more relatable.
so I've experienced this a little bit with some of the work so I do a podcast with my pastor I've been on for the last 2 or 3 years, and there's a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
times I try to be honest with him on the podcast, and we're all it's a pretty good environment. And there are times that I get done and I'm going back and I'm editing and I get to the very end and I'm like, am I sure I want to hit this publish button? Because this was all fine and good in a nice closed room amongst
Yep.
friends, but do I really want the world to know this particular thought or this particular thing that I'm struggling with or whatever?
Yep.
My question, I guess, to you is that how late in the process did you second guess? Am I sure I want to do this? Because I'm sitting there thinking after 9 months of writing the book, you probably think, well, I don't want to walk away from all this effort. But also, the closer you get to putting it out there, the scarier that can be. How late did you doubt yourself on it?
Till I hit send, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I mean, there was some stuff in there that I shared that I touched on, but in the original kind of manuscript draft, I had gone into a lot greater detail on some of the really dark stuff. And just through encouragement, really good friend of mine that actually wrote the forward in this, and through just talking to my wife and family, they're like, man, maybe don't put that out there. And so we did kind of walk that back a little bit, but I mean, I think there's enough in there that you get the idea.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the coolest things, I hope you will, are okay with me saying this, is it's not a look, my life was a mess, but I found out how to fix it, and now I'm fixed, and now I'm all better, and now I have no problems anymore, and you can too kind of a book. You're honest about the fact that, hey, you're better, but that doesn't mean that everything is perfect now,
Oh
right? Like, you
no,
went through a
no,
tough time and it's not as tough now. Like, that's there and that's clearly in there, but it's not a now everything is perfect in my life, and if you read this, you can be too, right?
no, yeah, not at
That's
all, not at all, not at all. Yeah, yep,
yeah,
yeah. Just like I say, just to encourage others through that journey
yeah.
was the biggie.
Well, Lance, really appreciate you taking the time to share the story behind the story. Really, I think I enjoyed reading it myself, but I think this is the first time I've really talked to you at all about the process of actually writing it. So, I really appreciate you doing that. For anyone who sees this, how can they get a copy? Not everybody's gonna be so lucky as to have a personally hand signed copy mailed to them, like I was. So, how can everybody else
I'll
get their hands on it?
I'll throw that in at no extra charge. How about that? Yeah, and we don't charge for this. I haven't gotten paid to do this. Okay, but yeah, just you can click on the website www.lancebrowning.com, get a copy of the book. You can shoot us an email. You can call the office directly here on Troop Highway in Tyler, what I call TroopCom. 903-787-8909. Just let us know you want a copy and we'll send it out.
Awesome, Lance. Well, appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat about it today.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
see you.